everyone for coming. I'm Anne-Fleur, also called Velvet Art. I'm working the past few years in photography and videography. I graduated just from my school. I did 8 years video, and I just learned myself how to put video style into photography. So what's going on here is I'm going to show you guys a little bit of my work. We're going to a few things which is quite important to make a photo or just to be making something interesting. I'm going to talk about my portfolio very shortly because you can look it up every time when you want. I'm going to talk about natural lighting. Know your camera. I know everybody is struggling with camera issues and camera settings. I'm not going to go into depth, but it will be fun to show you how you can work and get the maximum out of your camera, like every camera. I'm going to tell something about storytelling, dynamic angles, and I'm going to show you live editing, how I work on my photos. And in the end, you can ask questions or anything else you want. Like I said, I worked on my photography the last few years, and I had the chance to work with a lot of cosplayers around the globe. I went to Katsucon America, I worked with Ubisoft, I worked with official guerrilla games for the Horizon Zero Dawn cosplay photo shoots. So this is quite interesting to show you guys. Square Enix on the right from Final Fantasy XIV. So what I basically do is I'm portraying a cosplayer in the setting that should be like the game. I think most of you know Assassin's Creed Odyssey right now, and before the game, Rick Boer, RBF Productions NL, made a costume. He got the renders already, I think 2-3 months in front, and then we make photos together to show the cosplay world everybody can cosplay and can be looking epic like this. Going forward is some more storytelling photos like Violet Evergarden. It's more like an anime series right now on Netflix. It's pretty cute, it's fun to see, but also very emotional. I'm just going to talk of how to make the best out of your work. I work with no flashes, no lights, just natural from the sun, from the windows, from everything which you can apply basically. So everything you see here has been taken without flash. Basically where you're looking at is from the Violet Evergarden is like the morning light. We had the sun breeze going up and it was like 10 in the morning, 10 a.m. and we enjoyed the green atmosphere of just waking up birds, and everybody was just waking up and we were just working very hard already. In the midday, everybody says like you cannot photograph in the midday. Well, that is like the fakest rule ever, because everyone can shoot against straight sunlight. How to do that without reflectors, without anything, is shooting raw. Raw is saving your photos every time. Even in the night, you can photograph. You can take everything you want, like moonlight, maybe even fires. I used no flash or anything for the results I'm showing. Then we get to something which is pretty interesting, because light has been in our generation with photography, art, and go way back forward. I get my inspiration mostly about how light falls into naturals, because painters also didn't have flashes. So what are you going to do is look back at the old masters, like Rembrandt. I'm Dutch, so I love his work. But he was so amazing for his time. He let light come in from places you don't even know why they are there or how they got there. Like the background is fully black and then the girl is popping out even with the front guys. So there's a lot of mystic going on. And I think that should be in a photo, when you're making a photo, there should be everything around it should be fun. The light from the window, and Monet is like a French painter on the top. He is showing 3 different ways of light, how you can use it. So he's using the light from the right, from the front, and from the back. And that's actually how you can learn from the old masters how to use the light as shadow on your subject or cosplayer. What I did here with Violet Evergarden was I'm getting the scenery of the location perfectly fine. I try to put her into the scene like she is a still movie right now. What you can see is if you close in, like where are the lights coming from? Where are your eyes going to? Your eyes are mainly should be going to the lights points where you should get attention from. So you have 3 corners in this picture, which draws you from top to down to top to side. So you keep watching at it, actually, because there is a story behind, there is more information than you can see in one shot. I did the same with Milu from Germany, and I went to Poland with her, and she actually shot this beautiful from Final Fantasy IV, Rydia. And what I did was just like Rembrandt did, showing lights which should not be there normally or anything. You just make light from yourself. You think about where to highlight, what should be popping out if I'm making a photo, yes or not. What I did as well is the Assassin's Creed Odyssey with the bird. Even the bird is clearly visible. If you zoom in, we can see the bird in action, and this is not photoshopped. Everything here has been taken right on the spot. I will show you later how it has been edited. So basically we did this in full sunlight. He got full sunlight on his face, and just making everything glow what should be visible. What's very important is when you're shooting with light in the sun, straight up ahead on the face, is that the eyes should still be clearly visible, and even the shadows are not too hard on the clothes, when you can see only a black spot, but you can still see details through the shadows. Mostly in my shots there is a storytelling, and the storytelling part is very important because you need to have a nice composition to keep watchers or viewers looking at your photos. Because basically when you're taking a portrait, you think, oh, it's nice, it's a nice person, right? But when you're having a more dynamic into it, you think, okay, what's actually going on here? The point of view of where you stand with the camera does make sense. If you go higher or lower or even on the ground, what I like to do, I lay mostly on the time on the ground and just enjoy relaxing while the cosplayer is standing, very hard working. And yeah, then you get those kind of results. The location is so important because you want to show the character inside the person's world. You want to feel like you're there. You want to feel embraced with everything around it. What's very important, again, is that you make compositions on the following rules. Again, our old masters before us have already given us how to work on this. So we see the wonderful, beautiful lady on the swing, but what else do we see? We see in the corner, maybe not so clear right now, but we see a guy peeking under her skirt, but there over left, there's an angel very much giggling about how much fun she has. You can see the triangle composition of how to look straight to one another, like The Incredibles, like movies. You look from one to the other, to the next, to the other one. And that's how you can create the circle again and again and again to keep people watching. So why not doing that in my own work? I did this one with Rick once again for the movie version of Assassin's Creed. And again, I use here the same technique. It's like going up from the face, the first thing you see, then going to the horse, his head, and then going down to the feet. So everything here is going around, and you can see it's going circles if you look at it. It can be even applied on the next versions. So basically what you do is capturing a point where someone should be looking at, make something interesting, create dynamic poses, and that's, of course, something difficult. I mean, these girls are standing pretty basically. This girl is standing very, very talented, tough, and these two are standing on the stairs but have to twist their upper body quite a lot. So yeah, they will have muscle pain tomorrow for sure. That's what I mostly hear from my people I work with. Again, you can see here where the light is going to, where your eyes are going to, where you can see it's going down and where you see it's going up. What's again very important is locations. And you can see that every character has its own location. It's not like you're taking a photo into a convention center like here, but you're going to places which should be about those characters. I mean, Luna Freya from Final Fantasy 15, she is in a bandit place as well in the trailers, so you use that kind of stuff. Violet Evergarden is still very cute on herself, on a lone place, but she's having a good cup of tea. Then you have the girls over here. Yeah, they are so stunning from the Xenoblade. And they made their weapons even larger because they knew they were going to shoot with me. So they made them 10 times bigger because then they knew it's going to turn out very good. And I think it gives a dynamic feeling again. But still, if you're working with cosplayers, it can be also a very simple portrait can be good enough. So you use the light on the back and in the front, and you still can get something out of them. You glow their eyes up, or you glow their shadows more up, and it's still cool. I'm going to show you guys something like posing, and I have my lovely, talented friend from the Netherlands as well, Shaya Costumes as Amy. And actually, when you're going to shoot with a cosplayer, people always just randomly take a picture, and then they think, oh my god, I should have turned their arm left or right. Just stand over in the middle, like where you're good at, like light. Yeah, and let's just say you are gonna put the first pose into front of the camera, like the viewers are the camera pose. And when you see this, you think like, okay, this is good, but there should be something touched. And then I say, can I touch you? Can I help? Yeah. So she's gonna more like her hand like this. If you're gonna take a photo like this, her hand will be closed on her body, and that's very boring to see. So you should have it more like lifted. Then you feel like the body is actually, yeah, has gravity. Then you should have some wind, hopefully, and most of it will be done. It's ready. And when you're shooting with a cosplayer, you should know that her back is gonna hurt quite fast. Even Amy, her back is gonna hurt quite quick. So you're just gonna ask in a few times, are you sure you're okay with the picture? You show the results on your camera, and then she says, yeah, fine, or we should do it again later. You can do much more poses than this, right? So what you get out of this is another very dynamic angle, and she is actually catching the triangle version once again in her body. Then you don't have to do anything but play with the background on it. So if this should be a tower, then I will place her with her head close to the tower. So that will be interesting, like tower. And then you get the dynamic angle directly out of it. So it can be very easy, right? No, that's it. So here I show something with from the Horizon Zero Dawn shoot we were asked for. Ravenstar Cosplay got good connections with Guerrilla Games, and they were also Dutch, so it's easier to talk with them and to go pass by their studios or anything. We did some shoots for them, and they enjoyed it. She even got invited to other places to present the game as Aloy. What I do mostly is why are my colors always changing so much? I hear that more often, like, why don't you have one style of color in all your photos so everybody can recognize you? And I say, no, I'm not going to do that, because every character has its own world, and every character has its own place where it comes from. So we got the Assassin's Creed Syndicate, and we were, again, before time, so I only received the artworks, like these 3. That's the only thing I received back then. And I had to do everything, the whole shoot, with those 3 pictures, like the colors, like the atmosphere, like what's going on. A lot of trains, a lot of steam, a lot of bright light, not bright light. And in the end, we did something with trains. We have a wonderful museum at the Netherlands with trains. So we dressed up in 30 degrees, hot summer, because then, you know, the first things are out from the game. And then you enjoy making these kind of photos. Again, no flash, no filters, nothing like reflectors or anything. So what you see is something that should be never been seen if I don't light it up. The crane here is very important to the character, at least it was told then, and it was even true. The hidden blade is, of course, something you have to see. So when the light is coming from the back, turn it a little bit around, and it catches the light from the back. Then you don't have to highlight it anymore. You can play a lot with this kind of tricks between it, like belts or anything that you want. With the Assassin's Creed Odyssey, we also had only the package screen. We were a little bit further in the process. We went to Germany, and we did a shot there with something Greek looking. It was very fun. Again, a very hot day, working hard. Maybe 2 or 3 pictures are good, but it's fun to do. And you can see the colors from the package design should be coming more back into the photo I made. So how is this done? This is actually the picture out of my camera. And if we look at it, then it's going to change pretty slowly into the photo I colored. So again, before and after. It's like a massive change, but you see there has been no flashes, nothing. This is just simply highlighting and getting the right colors out of it, which is inside the world of the character. If we do the magic again, you can see I'm always shooting very, 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 very dark. And I hear that a lot from my cosplayers or people where I work with. They say, oh my God, I cannot even see my smile or anything. And I say, this is going to be OK. Because one rule in photography is that if you shoot too light, the information will be lost. So white is 0 information. Too black is also 0 information, but you can crick it up more than too bright. So what I did here was, again, seeing the little bit of light which is coming through. What also works when you work darker, you can see the small highlights which you should be applying. You can see the light is popping out. You can see here is something coming out and on the top of her head. So of course you make the cosplayer more coming forward, but again, you choose the highlights to make sure you get everything nice to look good at a picture. The same happens to here. There's a lot of happening right here too. And you can say, yeah, your photos are fake, they are all edited, and why shouldn't you use a flash? Because then you have to do, what would it be? 90% less of the work, right? Yeah, so I would say, yeah, you can do that. But a flash is also giving light to everything on the body. So you cannot, or almost never be on the power or on the decision you make your own to highlight one thing you like. And that's very important, because if you don't have grip or any feeling to your photos, or you cannot do anything with it, then it's not fun. Of course, there are the questions, but I'm going to share you guys something, because I promised I would show something with the Photoshop. So this is the photo I took from Rick together with his wonderful eagle-bodied friend. And I truly like it, but as you can see, it's not really what we got out of it. In the first place, you are going to think, like, what is not right in this picture? Well, we're in a Greek time, and there are no planes or airplanes at all. So that stroke on the top should definitely be gone. You can do that on various or different ways. You can take easily the reparation too. You can cross here and you say, okay, that should be gone. But that takes forever. Or, man, it doesn't look that bad right now. I'm under pressure as well right now, huh? So you're just going to slowly catch and wrap everything around. You can do it on a different way, which is the clones tool. The clone 2 is pretty much easier to work with. It's a fun to work with, but also very dangerous, because you clone too much, then the cloud from the left will be the same on the right, so you have to do a bit of natural. What I usually do is breaking down the opacity of it. I'm sorry, it's pretty Dutch, this program right now, but it should be opacity lower. So if you did everything like getting rid of all this stuff, which you don't want to see anymore, I'm taking it a little bit too hard right now, but you get the idea. And then you are clearly of the background. I mean, it's pretty neat, right? What you need to do next is for sure cutting out the model first, because if you cut out the model, then you're clean from anything else. So mostly that's taking the most time during all my process. I'm actually cutting him out like this. Let's say I'm just gonna do a little bit more wilder today, and I'm gonna say selecting and copying. So if we are correct right now, then we only should have him. Well, that's it. What we are doing is we are creating a mask layer beside him, because if you are just gonna brush everything away, I will show you without the mask. If you're brushing everything away and you hit accidentally the wing, then you're sure never gonna get it back, because then you have to start again. So if you use a mask tool, you can go a little bit over it, but with the erase button, you can get it back. So, and even this, you can see it's a little bit softer right here, so you should put it to the softness maybe a little bit more. And then you cut out your whole model and bird in this case. It's also a pretty model. So when you're done with that, then you should have everything together. So he's a standalone, or at least he became a standalone. What I'm doing is then slowly turn on the background, the vibrance, it's more color. If you do that, then you go to the saturation, giving, again, more color to the background. This is just background. I know it's a blue sky. It can be not very interesting, but blue is not always blue, blue. It can be different. With levels, you put more depth into it, and you can see like the character is coming forward, but it's still too dark. You feel like there's still no connection to it. We want to make the bird more visible right now. So again, we put a little bit of light behind him. How you create this is very, very easy. You just take a brush in whatever color you like. I say it's a little bit bright day, so we go for a soft orange glow. We take a brush. We go to softness very low, the bigness very high, and we take... Now we can play with anything we want to give more glow behind our subject, because we cut him loose. So now you have everything in your power, in your command, to do whatever you want with the sun. I want it there, I want it there. Well, that's not logical, because the sun is coming from here, so it would be strange if you're coming from there again. Always make sure you have one point where light is coming from, and then keep hold to it. Because if you're gonna change the light to here, then it will be strange, because the light is really clearly coming from here. So make sure you look at that when you're editing. Then we're slowly going further. I want to add a light on top of the wings of the bird, because it looks great. It feels like it's coming through. And then again, I put something very softly, very gentle. I don't know if you can see it on the screen, but it's a very soft breeze of light. It's less than 50%, and it's a bleach version. Then I'm gonna color again, but then on top of the person itself. So if I color again, I choose for the color balance to balance the first colors out of it. I want it more warm, I want it more soft, I want it more whatever I want. Then I do it again, because then I want to focus on a different part of the section. It's very soft, but if we click those two away and then again, you can see the red is coming more forward right now. You can see the blue is still blue. Again, I work with the colors. And it's simply soft touches, which makes Vibrance was again with the light, and this is once again with the levels. You work with levels very easily. This is always going darker, so you don't want it right now because you only want it brighter. So if you go this side, then you see like the sky on the back is blowing out. Not really what we want as well. So make sure you get something nice in between. And that's mostly why I use this one. You can see it's more lighting up right now. And the sky is not even getting too much blown out. So what you get is again a color layer to make it more sandy, more color, more yellow, because it should be warm. It was not that hot when we shot this. So actually I'm done with this. The only thing I do sometimes is, again, the highlighting part. When you're highlighting, you just take a look at where the light is coming from. You can see the light is coming from the back of the eagle. And what you do is a very soft highlight, lighter brush. And you think about very natural. If you put a candlelight on, what is going to be light out in front of you? Just gonna look at the old paintings again from the old masters. If there is light coming from the window, how should it look on the face? It should not be looking like the whole thing, because that's fake, right? You should be thinking in layers, so you should be thinking in one step higher and one other step higher, and you think like, oh, this is doing nothing, but it's clearly doing something. And if you want to give more light to the brush, because maybe he took a lot of time into it, and you want to appreciate his work, all made with hand, once again, a little bit more to the yellow part. And then you can see, like, those things are popping out right now way more than before. Of course, light is nothing without darkness. So we have a shadow tool with this one as well. And all you do is just complementing down the highlights, and everything is getting more touch and more feel. This takes quite a while, but it pays off the results. Because if we look back into what it was before we started, every single step, it was this. And right now, we have this. And sometimes you don't discover what you did, then just go back to how it was before. Because there is a lot of things that has changed, and you gave more life to your photo than ever before. I hope you all are happy with what I showed you. And if you want more to see, just let me know, because I'm ready for some questions if you have. Thank you for your time. Yes.
Yes, hi. I do have a question.
Yes.
Do you save every time you do these changes, or do you just save it like in a back file, or how do you do it?
If I'm doing more front or back?
No, like when you did this one, do you save each step, or do you have like, if you, shoot, I did it wrong, do you have an original you always go back to, or do you have like 5 different ones?
I actually can go back anytime, because what is very safe to do is making copies of the layers you're going to work on, and then be sure to keep those safe every time. So if I cut him out, I can say, okay, I want to save you, and I want to work again on him, because I think the glow in the back could be more visible right now. Let me check. I should be using this one. It's very tough without a tablet. Look, then the sun is from the back is coming more forward, and you think, oh no, I just want to get it back. But that's never gonna work, because that's never gonna look as natural as it was before, right? So what I do is then you have to copy again, and you're safe. So make sure to copy some layers before you go to the next steps. I hope that answers your question. Anything else? Well, I think that was pretty... Yeah, one question? Cool.
So between the time that you learned to edit like this and now, how much faster are you? How much less time does it take you per photo with the same results but just with more experience?
That's a good question, because everybody thinks that after a lot of years you get more faster and faster in doing this. but I'm taking 1 hour at least for one photo. And that's basically for every photo I'm editing, because I want to make sure it's getting the life and the feel from the characters which you want to have. So it still takes me 1 hour. You have to search out everything. Yep, it's not getting faster. Anyone else?
So you're working with Photoshop. Would you say that for people who are like starting out and maybe don't want to invest in a Photoshop license or anything like that, the free available tools, are they good enough these days, or do you still have to invest in Photoshop?
Well, Photoshop is one of the magical tools you have, and I think you should get it really if you want to make some adjustments like this, because you keep the quality always the same. There are some stuff you can get much more cheaper. You have Lightroom as well, which I heard from photographers, they are using it a lot. For me personally, I don't get enough, like how do you say that in English? You don't get too much control over your work. You have like, if you light it up, it's everything lighting up. You cannot put something out of it. Like for example, I want a bird coming out of it, then I go to Photoshop. So I keep Lightroom on the left, but anything between it I would definitely not know, because this is something I always got Photoshop in front of me, pushed, and then they say like, good luck on school. So ever since I got into it. But I really, really challenge everyone to go into Photoshop. It's not that dangerous or scary as it seems, or even if you lost your way. There are enough tutorials these days, and even from Adobe itself, there are enough things to see. And make sure you get your own style into editing, because you can copy everyone and copy every famous photographer out in the world, but be sure to give your own style to it. That's why I like to shoot with the sunlight on the back. Everybody is not doing that, so I think, why not? And that's why I keep doing it.